Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into this remix I did of Hold My Hand by Knock 2. Absolute banger of an original, but wanted to give it my trap spin, and I'm going to be going through every single layer here, showing you guys the exact process. A lot of resampling, a lot of cool techniques, so stick around and enjoy the vid. As always, guys, this project file is available on Patreon. You know, I upload the whole thing, freeze and flatten all the third-party plugins, so opens right away. You can snag that along with a bunch of other sick project files. And then also quick plug for the sample pack. You know, I just dropped it like a month ago. Response so far has been insane, so thank you guys for copping that. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Go ahead and play the intro here.
To say goodbye, so hold my hand again, one more time, my friend.
So I was using this channel the whole time to just resample different parts of the song. So what I would do, I just do like a little MIDI clip, obviously, put it on the right note. And then, like, just as I'm building this song, I would just come in here and resample different elements. It's gonna bring us to this next part. So these freezes that you see, like here's one. So for that, you know, I just made this 8 bars. I probably use my granulator pad rack for this one. It just turns any like melodic element into a really nice pad or atmosphere. And yeah, I would just automate different parameters here, different effects, and just keep on resampling different elements from the master, right? Because, you know, it's not like I had stems or anything. It's just the master, and I did like a vocal split, so I have the vocal separately, right? So I'm just working with the master, trying to extract as much melodic content as I can from it. Then we have this one. You can see that one, I just granulated like part of the vocal and just a lot of reverb and delay, and it turns it into a nice atmosphere. Then I added a little transgate. Have a nice sound like that. Yeah, this next one's like a vocal. I just grabbed the so hold, and then I granulated the hold of it, so it kind of holds. I thought that was kind of cool. Then we have a little piano coming in here. Eventually it evolves a little bit. And if we turn off these effects, yeah, still a really nice piano, but I'm doing some compressed room, bring out the reverb and overall volume, some OTT, port rack, you know, it's just a compressor sine, soft sine, fresh air, a little bit of a gain, and take the sub out, then run it through my clean space rack, which adds some delay and reverb and some really nice granulated textures on top at plus 12 semitones. You could kind of hear them sparkling there, and we're just opening it up with an auto filter. And then the other atmospheric element I have here is this, it's again from Labs, just like a pad element. Doing one note and then switching it.
So hold my hand.
And yeah, I actually just used the master. I didn't even like extract the vocals, you know, because these were super clean right here. So, and you know, he had some nice atmospheres of his own going on. So yeah, I just slapped the master right here for this part. Just a couple of cymbal transitions, some noise, you know, no drums yet. And then we're into the energy section. So I'm just gonna play out the energy section really quickly. And then we kind of take that out of the way. All right, so yeah, call this section energy. So in the original, it's quite similar. Like this is the original. Let's take all the effects. There's really not much on it, but yeah, just EQ and stuff. Let's take everything off. So I thought that was so sick, and basically all I tried to do was just expand on that and make it like even more high energy, as crazy as I can. So I have these granulated layers here. Just supposed to be like a big hug around this main lead that Knock 2 already had. The way I got all these, go back to this granulator layer right here. I would just grab different parts of it, and you could see there's, you know, audio 6, 10, 8, 5, 11. In the granulator, I would kind of hone in on one note, like right there. And then I would come over here and just record it. So you have this. And then here's, you know, another example, another take. So yeah, I would just record a bunch of different takes of all these notes from the original, and I was messing with the spread right here. So I could change the width and like the wobble quite drastically, the spray and the grain of course as well, and the file position. And so yeah, just doing that, experimenting, having fun for a little while. I got a whole bunch of audio clips to then chop up and configure in this arrangement, and I just tried to follow the original melody. And you can see I just pitched it up here and there, make it a little more interesting. Then the second one is a similar approach of just the vocal, where I was just again messing with like the spread and all the parameters to like start it wide, bring it to the center. And the second part, I actually just started chopping up this last bit of it and pitching it to make a little harmony with the original. In context, that part. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun with this section. And then underneath all that, I have this noise layer, which is just white noise. We could unfreeze this. And you can see I'm changing the auto pan rate amount to match the so I basically just matched this rate of hertz frequency to the frequency of the note using one of these things on the master. I think it's free. So yeah, like C sharp would be 34.6. I just plugged that in. And you'd be surprised, like changing the rate, if you're doing this technique for getting some sub distortion noise, it actually makes quite a big difference. Like look at this last note. Like it kind of does sound more high pitched, whereas if this was way lower. That versus, like it almost starts to get a pitch even though it's just noise. And especially when you layer it with the sub, you really notice it. Right. And then yeah, as for the sub, it's very simple, just sine wave, and you can see it's hitting pretty loud. I mean, it's not that loud, but I guess for like a intro section, it's kind of a loud sub, but I wanted that impact. And the only thing that I'm doing that's kind of cool is I just have the notes repeating. Da 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 da. And there's, you could only hear this if you're on headphones, of course, but there's no pitch envelope or anything. I just think that re-triggering the notes like this, like just having new MIDI notes, it makes the sine wave start over, right? Every time there's a new note. So just that, like, that little thing almost kind of sounds like a very, very small pitch envelope on the sub. Da-na-na-na, you know what I mean? So I just thought that was pretty cool. Kind of helps the rhythm. So yeah, that's this section. And yeah, no vocals or anything yet. Then after that, we get into... After that, we kind of move this guy out of the way with an EQ and endless smile. And a big reverb as well, just making this super far in the background now because these vocals come in from the original, so I just wanted to give them that space. We also get rid of the sub and the noise and introduce a respace instead, so we'll play those two together. Nothing special on the respace, I'm just automating it open and close a little bit. And in the meantime, we actually do start to get some drums in here, so I have just chopped up some of this loop. Little cymbal, right? And then this like atmospheric one from my sample pack. And then we're into the build. Alright, so then for the build up, just have this kick right here, and I just start bringing the volume of it down as the build progresses. Also, there's an endless smile in the group, and then we have a couple of drum loops. All right, so this one right here is just from one of my other projects, and then the second loop here is from my latest sample pack. So those layer, and then for the pre-drop, got a couple of things going on. We have this reverse kick, we have a little chop snare, a little fill from the build loop, and we have a distorted kick right before. So pre-drop sounds like this. And then as for the perk group, it's just one open hat right here. Just trying to get that rhythm started, you know, before the drop. And I like to do open hats as the build drums. And it's just some sweeps, you know, super typical basic stuff. A little cymbal transition. Got a riser right here. In my normal projects, like I'm stacking quite a few risers, but the build energy from the original, which I have layered right here, was already super good. So only felt like I needed one extra riser. And then this guy is a resample. So I basically just took this whole drop stack and resampled it into this layer for the buildup. I also simplified the pattern a little bit, so it's just these quarter notes for the buildup, and yeah, just opening it up with the EQ. And then in the response sections, or the B sections, same thing, I just resampled the donks from the drop. It's got some reverb and EQ on it, and then eventually it just kind of starts to hold one note. And so in context, it sounds like this. Yeah, it's pretty far back there in the background for this build-up part, but that's kind of the goal. Then we have the original right here. Just kept it in, had some really good energy in it. Cut the lows right, because I'm doing a sub drop and a sub riser combo right here. And yeah, just like that, we're ready for the drop. So let's start looking at these drums, and they sound like this. So we got a nice snappy kick right here, taking away a little bit of the low mids, boosting a little bit of the highs. And the glue compressor is a cool trick that I recently started doing. So without this, then with it, you can hear it really adds in that high end and keeps it super snappy. So that's I've been doing this on kicks and snares recently. I'm really liking it. Yeah, just a fun little pattern. Then we got two snare layers. So the first one, the main one, chorus from my sample pack. Then I layered it with a little bit of, I guess this is a ride, but really any noise would work. Just to get a little bit of more of a sizzle in the high end. So together we have this. And then eventually for the response section, once like the trap part starts, I layered in this resonant peak layer. Yeah, like the actual snare starts back here, but I just chopped it and faded in a little bit because all I really care about from this layer, a nice resonant peak. So all these guys together now would sound like this. Sometimes I like to just let them go, but right here, for example, there's another kick that comes in, so I just cut the snare. But I kept this, and then, you know, another example is right here. We have these kicks where I manually sidechained the snare resonance, I guess. Yeah, so that resonant peak snare is only for the responses, but then in the second 8 bars, I just have it going the whole time. Then we got a little side accent snare, little chop snare guy. For the turnaround, we have a couple of layers. We have a break, an impact, and like a pre-drop riser. Something kind of cool that I'll talk about in a minute when I get to the drop part is this delay, which could kind of turn anything into a riser in a really cool way. But I'll save that for later. Then in the perk group, we have this cymbal layer that hits on all the kicks. We have a quarter note ride, hat loop, and an open hat. So again, all together with the drums, we got this. And now ready for the sidechain group. Yeah, so I went for like a huge wall of sound situation. If you guys have heard my How to Fly remix, very similar approach here. You know, this is kind of just how I go about remixing things. You know, I try to extract as much as I can from the master, and then through resampling and stuff, I just fill in the rest of the layers that way. But yeah, let's go top down here. So there's just a couple of noise sweeps, a little spin back guy. For the turnaround, I have a bunch of risers and lasers stacked. Sounds like this. But here's where all the cool stuff is. Alright, so the original was obviously already a banger, right? But I was just trying to trapify it and get it as high energy as I could. So I think I just started with like the drums and this just layered. So I was like, alright, this has potential, but we need to like make the rhythm more trappy instead of housey. So I just started chopping up, and as you can see, there's a lot of chops here. And I started like kind of getting glitchy with it, like little moments like that. And then also, yeah, right here, this isn't even on grid. You know, it kind of hits off, but I liked that kind of grid it added. Da, 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 da. In the second part, I start pitching it up an octave every once in a while. But yeah, this whole layer is literally just a master with an EQ on it. Yeah, there's like a weird resonance. I don't know what it was, but I got rid of that. Then we got another layer from the original, but this is more so from the intro of the song. But chopped up in a very, very similar way, you know, exactly at the same markings pretty much. And the whole group has what you hear there for that turnaround. It's just an auto filter. Then this next layer, it's frozen, but I actually still have the original right above it. It's just, I think that's just the master in Granulator. I just was automating the file position to follow this progression. I just have a little compression, soft sine, fresh air, boba, because there's a lot of harsh resonances. And this layer is also an octave up, so originally it would sound like this. But yeah, with Granulator, you know, just pitch it up in the piano roll. Have a nice, shiny octave up version. You could see in the response, you know, since those donks come in, which we're about to talk about, I just ducked it out of the way, both with frequency and with width and gain. A section and the B section, I still wanted to use it, but just in a much more of a background state. So that's this layer. Then once I had it in Granulator, I just froze it right here so I could do the exact chops, right? And this part was so cool. It was like already perfectly fluttering. You know, that'll repeat. Then this last one here is just a serum lead. Check out the processing, but a little bit of reverb put in the space. And then you guessed it, freeze and flatten, chop it up the exact same way. And a couple of layers for the second drop. This one I was going for a crunchy layer, again from the original. So yeah, it's like, I think this is the very beginning of the song actually. Yeah, so this is just from the intro.
Don't wanna go, but
Yeah, just from the intro. So I just chopped that little bit up. With all the processing, we have... So let's see, we got a reverb for some throws, I think. Compression. Let's see, what's this riff preset on? Noise wave. So I think that's what's giving it all that grit. Oh yeah. So it kind of sounds like a Camel Crusher. Again, soft sine, fresh air, boba, and an EQ removing the lows. They're a bit harsh, and taking down some stereo. Since I'm getting like this layer right here was super wide already. No need to overdo it. Tuck that one into the center. Really cool glitchy layer. I think that one adds a lot. I just have this little pad for the response. You know, just filling in some mids. Because I think like with this section, the A section, it's just a wall of sound. And although the donks here are like pretty powerful, it was just like there was a bit of a contrast because there's so many frequencies filled up here. And then here, like, especially if you just look at the EQ, literally just like one peak. So I was just filling it in with a bunch of extra pads and stuff. These guys will just follow the donk rhythm now. I have that pad, and then I have a couple of sustains. Both from my packs. really screechy one. And then boom, we got the response basses. So I just used simpler, you know, because I was messing around with the notes a bunch. And it's easier to just do that than individually pitching samples. Of course, you know, coming from my packs, you know, the sample already sounds clean. You don't have to worry about anything. Just a little EQ and you're good to go. Then another donk, a more noisy one, and I'm just getting rid of the sides here. A little bit of EQ, clearing some space for the main donk. You got this guy. So together you got this. Group processing. First of all, a reverb to just put it in space at this 10 seconds. Or sorry, 10%. You know, 1 second. Really small reverb, but just put these guys in the same room. Compression. Utility's not doing anything. A bunch of reverb throws. This is really important for these donks because they could get pretty repetitive. So the reverb throws really help to break them up and also give them some width, you know, little width throws. And then just a couple of EQs to shape. Pretty simple. Let's go ahead and listen to that in context. And then if I take out these sustains in this layer, like, it'll be so empty. That versus this. Like, I just feel like those support layers add so much for the energy. So this is what all of my drop sounds are in pretty much, except for mid bass and sub. So all the synth stacks. Compression, reverb, filter for, I think just for turnarounds. The I don't know, it's kind of hard to pick up, but I have a little tape stop on these first two hits. So they have an ever so slight amount of, you know, pitch down. Well, if I remove that, and with it. So I'm just using that throughout as a little cool little accent element. Then an endless smile for the turnarounds and stuff. Compressor only comes in the second drop. EQ. Oh yeah, so for the turnarounds, the vocals come in right here. And so I just wanted to give them some space, so I just bring in this EQ just for those parts. And with that, we're ready to talk about the turnaround. I think this is pretty cool. The delay, if you automate the delay from like 0 to, you know, whatever, I think I'm going to like 50, 44, while simultaneously reducing the delay time from like 5 milliseconds to 1 millisecond, it's like the delay, you know, lengths get shorter and shorter until you're at 1 millisecond. So it kind of creates a nice riser effect. So listen to this. If I'll accentuate this so you really hear it right here, and we'll even go like all the way down to 1 millisecond. So check this out. So it's really cool. It starts to sound like a phaser, right? And this is just a nice, easy way to take like a big group of sounds. Like in this instance, you know, all these sounds are running through this delay, and they're all gonna have this exact same, you know, effect applied onto them. So you kind of condense all this into one sound in a way. And I kind of did it by ear, but I tried to make this like last delay amount, not really, but kind of land in key, you know, just so it doesn't sound too whack. Because it is kind of playing a pitch towards the very end. And yeah, that's the same thing that I was showing earlier on this drum break. We have those couple of elements and a sub drop. Meanwhile, the vocals are coming into play here.
So hold my hand.
I have it on the vocals as well, but I made it a lot more minimal. I guess I forgot to mention the vocals during the drop. They're just on during this response section. Little pad from the original, and just like a chant chopped up. So in context, we got this. And then, yeah, let's look at the basses now. So in the A section, I guess they're actually the same for A and B section. So we got, this is the stack. So layer by layer, we got the top noise. Automating the rate of the auto pan kind of makes the noise sound like it's at different pitches. The reason I do this, you could totally just have your noise right and then add in a sine wave and then distort these together. And you know, that's usually how you would get this noise distortion sound. But I just prefer this clean noise sound. I make it a bit wider. The amp really brings out the high end. And then running it through an auto pan to get that exact sine wave wobble. I like how it sounds. And then we have a mid bass layer. Nice and wide one with a lot of EQ and like fine tuning. We got the guy right here. See, I think it's just like a basic shapes. A little bit of processing. Got a notch, some noise, and this one's also an octave up. So usually it would be on the bass line, it'd be like this. But I think I was just wanted some more energy in these low mids. So I bumped it up one. I think it works well with the stack, and then we have a nice clean sub underneath. Subs hitting right around -2, -3-ish. Then we have a couple of bass fills. This one's just a sample from a sample pack. I pitched it down. I think it sounds super sick. And then one from one of my packs. Yeah, so usually it's just... But I stretched it just a little bit so it fills, you know, just to the end of this little part. Right. Then this is a really cool fill, I think, right here. We have two sounds layered. We have this one and this one. This first one's like a FM distorted sine, I think. And the reason I have it frozen and chopped up right here is because there was a little bit of latency or something with the serum patch. Also, it was getting a bit of a tail. So I wanted to like visually see exactly where the notes lie because I have these hitting on all the kick hits, right? So we have kick, kick, snare, kick, kick. So yeah, I just wanted to have these line up. That's like the high end layer. And then the low end layer, we got this guy. And that's that sound. I'm doing the same thing, just manually having these in position. This makes me want to freeze down all of my sounds because look at all that extra crap that's usually now going to be interfering with my kick. Let me know in the comments if you guys, you know, convert everything to audio when you do your final mixdown, or do you just keep it in MIDI? That's a considerable amount of volume that is now going to be interfering, right? You'll probably never notice it, but I bet all these little things build up, you know? Then we got... Oh yeah, so then here's the patch for it. This one's actually from my Patreon. It's just a really good respace. You could control the wobble rate and the pitch bend. You know, whatever. Do whatever you want. Got like a FM built in. Sync and reverb. And then I think I added, yeah, a little notch here as well. Just manually automating this. So you got this. And yeah, I think the second 8 bars is pretty copy and paste. You know, I just, like I said earlier, just have this resonant snare going the whole time. Not really anything else. Some of the melodies are a little bit different. Like right there, we pitch up a little bit. And the donk rhythm is a little different. Also, I should mention, if you guys are curious about how to make these kinds of sounds, you know, these donks that I'm sure you've heard in a lot of trap. I have a tutorial for that on my Patreon. You know, I have a serum preset and a rack and everything to make these yourself. And, you know, this kind as well. That one's a bit different. That one uses more of a white noise approach, and this one's like a proper serum patch. So yeah, that's on Patreon if you guys are interested. But yeah, for the second part, I just pitched the note up, I think up 7 semitones. So now we're hitting that C sharp. Here I think it was the G sharp. Yeah. On this one, you could really hear the sustain buzzing through. And yeah, I kind of just drop the note every once in a while during the reverb throws, because I think it creates like a really cool washed out effect where you have the reverb from these higher notes plus the reverb of these lower notes kind of combining. I thought that was like pretty cool. And yeah, then the post drop, I just keep the drums going. So I automate this reverb on. Yeah, I guess just this main layer. Dry, it was like this. And then now with a little bit of reverb. You can really hear the fundamental of it a little bit. The doom. And we got the vocal coming in right here. A little bit of Atmos coming back. I just keep this guy going from the drop. Some reverb on it now, and I'm going to start fading these pads in, and we bring back the piano. And that's pretty much it for this whole section. Then we got, I bring in the OG back, and I just kind of went crazy with the piano here. I had so much fun. Let's play this section.
Now I know that it's how we're meant to be. Good or bad, but I'll have the memories. So hold my hand again. One more time, my friend.
And yeah, so like I kind of faked going back into this really intense wall of sound with the same type of riser. But then I just tucked it back in, and this is more of like a, just like a more uplifting section, I think, just because the vocals and everything going on and the piano that's been building. And yeah, just keep the pads going. See, there's like no drums going on, but in a minute here we go back to our drum loops for the second build. I just have this respace going on underneath everything. And yeah, I had a really, really fun time with this piano, just kind of going crazy with the notes, trying to find little harmonies that worked with the original. In the original, there actually is a really cool piano that Noctu has, playing some like funky jazzy notes, and I tried to kind of bounce off of that, and I think I got it pretty cool. Just doing little things like this little out of key D rolling up to the D sharp. Yeah, let's just listen to this piano soloed for fun. And that little bounciness at the end. Da, 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 da. Just trying to play off of this master right here. I'm gonna just fly through the second drop because it's pretty similar. I just did like a drum switch up, but I just looped the original right here, make it a bit of a variation from the first build. And I introduced this really cool rave synth. And for the drums now we got, I think, yeah, the first time it was just one, kind of quieter open hat. Now we got two loud ones that are really present. And I think you know where this is going. Jersey drums in the build. It's got to mean Jersey drums in the drop. Really not much to say here. A little fake out, big reverb throw, then yup, bring in the bed squeak, gotta do it. And then here's the Jersey drums. I did switch out the kick for like a super punchy one. Glitching out the break at the very end here. So this moment's just created with like some auto filters. Yeah, this auto filter. Got a little wub, and then the producer tag kind of throws you into this little section here.
Sport mode.
And I love this fill. This is like from such an old project, and I still use this fill. But I just love how that sounds in the mix here. But that's pretty much it. And then we just got a nice little outro. I actually had some fun in the outro with, where is it? With this shifter. I was like, I had it on, you know, like the recording arm, and I was just recording me messing with the fine knob with that and the dry wet, I think. Yeah. And if you mess with the shifter in this way, like not full dry wet, just at a certain percentage, you could get some like really cool phasiness going on. You could really hear it there at the end. So cool. Without that, I love this phaser trick. I use it, or this shifter trick. I use it all the time. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, master chain, mid side, no sides, under 200. Utility just for the buildups. Clipping, that's nothing. Span, that's nothing. And imager just to look at. It also is not doing anything. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what else you want to see. Make sure to check out this remix out now on SoundCloud. If you want the project file, like I said, on Patreon, go snag it. Go snag all my other stuff, you know. Grab my latest pack if you haven't already. And that's it. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.